So Gibson just released the Theodore guitar. Is it cool or is it a swing and a miss? Let's discuss. Hey, David here with NextLevelGuitar.com. Hope all is going well, and I hope your guitar and musical journeys are going famously. So exciting times. A couple days ago, Gibson just released a new guitar, the Theodore, as part of their Archives series. I heard about this, that they were going to release something new, and you're looking forward to it, and then they come out with it, and then it's like, I don't get it. And I just want to preface this whole thing by saying, I'm a Gibson fan. I've been a Gibson fan a long time. In fact, I love my Les Paul. I've had this guitar over 20 years and I'll probably never sell it. What I'm going to talk about is just my opinions, and clearly when we're talking about aesthetics, it's certainly beauty's in the eye of the beholder. And I have to first say that I give a lot of props to Gibson because, they're trying. They are trying. They're trying different things and they're taking risks. And I got to give them, some credit for at least they're trying. And Gibson sent the guitar out to some content creators, and you could hear people playing it. There's plenty of videos up on it now, as well as there's a lot of discussion about it. Now, I don't have one of the guitars, so I can't play it, so I could show you pictures of it. But the reviews are very mixed, and it seems to me it comes down to if you're more of a collector, investor, or you really like that vintage kind of vibe and the vintage retro thing, then you kind of think it's a good idea and you like it. But then I think on the other side, if you're more of a player and someone more who's not into collecting guitars but playing them and whatnot, and generally the reviews are not so good. First of all, I think it's a great story. It really is a good story. And you probably know it. I'll tell you a little bit about the story, but it's a great story and not so great guitar. Personally, I just don't get it. I think the guitar is not the best looking guitar. It's a little on the ugly side, just my opinion. And the price tag, I think, is a total swing and a miss. $5,000 for a slab guitar, I think it's a big miss. But I'm sure they'll sell out. I'm sure they'll go up in value because it's such a limited run. And if you would like a free video lesson and ebook, I have a killer ebook. It's my largest one that I've ever published. It's packed with over 30 scale diagrams. It has music theory in it, modal playing, it's all kinds of neck diagrams and scale charts and soloing strategies. It's packed. It's a killer reference tool that you might be using throughout your guitar journey. I'll send it to you for free and a free video lesson. Just click on that link below. But it's a great story, and I think Gibson should have just left it at a story. The story is Ted McCarty, who was the president of Gibson. I think he started as a vice president, but he was the president. And in 1957, he designed this guitar. And in fact, here's a drawing of it, and they include a picture of the drawing with the guitar if you buy one. And Ted McCarty's a heavy hitter, a very influential guitar guy, big time innovator. And him and his team have their design fingerprints all over some of the most iconic guitars that Gibson's ever produced. The Les Paul, the 335, the Flying V, the Firebird. Ted and his team, right? So you're talking about a major innovator and a guy with incredible vision and design expertise. So he came up with this drawing for this guitar, 1957, and apparently it was approved but never released. And then so the drawing went back in his desk or in his file cabinet, and it was forgotten about supposedly, and it just stayed there until 65 years later someone discovered it when going through some boxes or cartons or files. Oh, what's this? And then they decided to produce the guitar 65 years later. And they launched it a few days ago. And they're launching it in 3 colors, natural, wine red, and ebony. And 3 colors, very limited numbers. They're only making 106 of each color. So 318 guitars, that's it. So very limited run. And these are custom shop guitars. It's a slab build, alder body, which is a very interesting choice because Gibson doesn't do a lot with alder, right? So alder body, mahogany neck, P90 soap bar pickups. Very old school build, right? It has the walnut stripe running through it, which is kind of cool, right? And the guitar is kind of, has that futuristic kind of look to it. And especially back then, it must have been very futuristic looking. But now it has that futuristic retro look. And it doesn't appeal to me. I don't like the tulip-shaped guitars. And they're pricing them at $49.99. And real quick, do me a quick favor and subscribe to the channel. Subscribing to the channel, that really helps us to keep bringing the content. And ring that subscription bell because then you'll be notified when we have new lessons posted. Also, leave a comment below. Let me know what you think of this video. Let me know your thoughts. Let me know what you'd like to see in videos to come. And if you like the video, please click the like button. Give it a thumbs up, share it, and thank you so much for your support. So what do you think? Do you think the guitar is cool? It has this real freaky kind of tulip tulip body shape with the hockey stick headstock. And if you're into that vintage retro vibe, maybe you'll dig it. Personally, it's not for me. I don't like it. I don't think it's a good looking guitar. It's not a guitar that I'd say, wow, I just want to sit and play it and, you know, enjoy it and use it to be creative, right? I think Gibson is going after the collector market with this, obviously, because you know, you're not going to see the guy down at the local club playing guitars like this. You're just not. No one's going to buy this and then just take it on the road and play it. I think it's more of a collector type thing. It's something that I think a lot of people are going to buy and probably just leave in the case and, you know, as an investment, like a hedge fund or something, which I am totally against. Personally, again, this is just my opinion. I think guitars are made to be played. They're made to be used as a creative tool for an art form to create music, right? Just like a painter uses paintbrushes, right? Or like a carpenter uses a hammer to create their art. You know, I think guitars should be worn and played and enjoyed, not stuck in the case, stuck under a bed somewhere or put in a vault somewhere just to, you know, collect dust and to be turned into an investment. It just drives the prices of these guitars up more and more and more, and you see that in the market. The prices have gotten crazy, and for stuff like this, it's just such a limited small number of guitars and such a limited slice of the market, right? They're really going after that collector investment thing, which I think is just a swing and a miss by Gibson, even though they'll probably sell out of them, right? But I just don't think it's what most people would want Gibson to come out with, right? And Gibson has been plagued by, in my opinion, these bad decisions, swing and a miss after a miss after a miss, year after year after year. It really makes me say, like, how did some of these decisions get by everybody there? You know, they're sitting in the boardroom discussing what they're going to do, and they're like, oh yeah, yes, this is it, yes. And it's like, I don't get it. And if you look back, you know, even though they're look back the last 10, 15 years, you know, you have a series of just bad decisions from the, you know, not this CEO, but the former CEO going out and blaming the retailers for the issues at Gibson's. I mean, you never blame the retailers. Robotic guitar tuners, to them taking so long and trying to correct their quality control issues, to that awful Play Authentic video, right? And that is the current CEO. How could you sit there in a boardroom and watch that video? Yes, let's release that. How does that happen? And to his credit, the CEO did apologize for that and said it was a mistake. But how could that ever be released? Just a bad look and not the message that you want to get across, right? Another bad decision. To them buying all those different sound and audiophile companies, to where it dropped their guitar slice of Gibson to like 30% of their business was from guitars. It's like concentrate on what you do best. Concentrate on the guitars. You got to get back to the guitar end of it. So there's just how do these decisions happen? You know, that guitar, I'm sorry, not a good looking guitar. So great story, but I think they should have left it at a story. Here's the big question that nobody is answering. If Ted McCarty really thought this guitar was the guitar, you know, or like Gibson, or like you read about, oh, the long lost Gibson guitar and this is the one, it's finally being released. That's a bunch of bullshit, because if Ted really wanted this guitar released, why didn't it get released? Right? You're talking about a huge guitar innovator and he could have got this released if he thought that this was it. And you could say, oh, well, Gibson at that time, then they released the SG and then that was that. Well, then what about after that? Why didn't he release it after that? If Ted really wanted this guitar released, it would have been released, right? But it wasn't. Why not? That's the question that needs to be answered. Why not? Because even after that, Ted just wouldn't have taken a great design that he loved and just forgotten about it. He would have refined it a little bit, even after the SG and after the V or whatnot, after some of those other guitars. He would have then released something based off of this model, right? That had tweaks to it, or that had some of the DNA of this in it. And there wasn't, right? So I don't think Ted wanted this guitar released. And there was a reason why that design ended up on the bottom of his file cabinet and he didn't really go back to it. He could have even went back to it when he started his collaboration with Paul Reed Smith and have some aspect of this guitar in that. But he didn't. And I think there's a reason why it stayed there for so long. And that's not what Gibson is saying. So, you know, I have to call bullshit on this long lost guitar thing, because I don't think that's it at all. Just my opinion. When I look at this guitar, you know, I think of like a Rickenbacker. You know, Rickenbacker released in 1957 the 950, which was kind of like a tulip shape. And if you look at the Rickenbacker guitar, this Theodore is kind of like a slimmed down kind of body style of that. So when I look at this guitar, I think, it kind of looks like a Rickenbacker, but then again, it kind of, my first thing is it looks like a Teisco, right? And that's not a knock on Teisco, because Teisco came out with some cool stuff, right? Spectrum 5. Takai came out with something that had a little similar kind of pointy, tulipy thing going on. So maybe if even though those came out later, but if the Rickenbacker mated with the Teisco and the Takai, maybe you get this, the Theodore. Not a fan. And I think Gibson even fucked up the name, because I don't know anybody or read any, I have never met Ted McCarty, but I've never heard him referred to as Theodore McCarty. It's always Ted McCarty. Always Ted McCarty, and I assumed that's what he preferred. Maybe they can ask someone, or someone maybe put a comment if they knew Ted or knew someone who knew Ted and said, oh yeah, he liked Theodore too. Maybe, okay, then I'll give it to you. But I don't think so, because anybody who has a name that could go a couple different ways usually has a preference. Happens to me all the time. People always ask me, do you prefer Dave or David? If they call me Dave, do you prefer Dave or David? And it's like, my response is like, it doesn't really matter, but I prefer David. Personally, I just prefer it. And I'm sure he preferred Ted, because that's what everybody called him. But yet they named this Theodore. So again, I don't know if Ted McCarty would have wanted it to be named Theodore. I don't even know if he would wanted this guitar to be released. My gut opinion saying he probably would not have wanted it released, because he would have released it. Or he would have made that happen, or some incarnation of it. And I wouldn't say it's like a total clunker, and Gibson has released, as many guitar companies have, Gibson has released some total clunkers in the past. I mean, do you remember things like the Reverse Flying V? How did that ever get by anybody in a boardroom, right? Or the Corvus, or the Moderne, or the Firebird X, or the Firebird Zero, right? I mean, total clunkers. This not as much as a clunker of that. And again, they're trying. They're trying different things. But why does it have to be $5,000 for a slab guitar with a walnut stripe? I just don't get that. How does, the average player justify spending $5,000? I don't get it. Help me. Put a comment below. Help me understand. I want to like it. I do. Final thoughts. Kudos for Gibson for trying. Kudos for Gibson for taking some risks. But I think it's a swing and a miss, even though they'll sell out. I think it's a swing and a miss. And I think it's a great story. And I think Gibson should have just left it as a great story. Because, in my opinion, I think if Ted McCarty would have wanted this guitar to be released, it wouldn't have taken 65 years for it to be released, right? He would have made it happen and be released. There was a reason why this drawing was at the bottom of his desk or parked away in an old file cabinet somewhere. But let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel, because that really helps us to keep bringing the content, and ring that subscription bell, because then you'll be notified when we have new lessons posted. And I'll put a link in the YouTube description box if you'd like a free video lesson and an ebook. That's killer. It's a great reference ebook. Stay tuned. Lots more to come. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Keep up all that hard work on those guitars. And remember, your guitar playing is an evolution. So enjoy the journey. Take care, rock on. See you soon.